Good day, people. Happy New Year. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, but I've had a few ideas of what I've been wanting to talk about. I did want to touch on the 21 Savage situation, the Young Thug situation, and obviously, as of recent, the Doechii situation. I've been wanting to talk about the Doechii situation for a while now, but honestly, as I sat and I thought about, what topics I want to touch on, brainstorming ideas, writing a script for it, I would say, I quickly came to the realization that I really and truly don't care about these people. And by these people, I'm not referring to Doechii, I'm referring to, the Young Thugs, the 21 Savages of the world, the people that really and truly don't care about hip hop. And then, for the, as of, recent events, the Aiden Rosses of the world who are only in proximity to hip hop because of certain people. I've just kind of, I don't think that deserves a full length, thought out, deep analysis type of video. Because in my opinion, the reasoning is very, very, very simple. She's on TDE. TDE is obviously in proximity to Kendrick. We all know, who these guys are friends with. And of course, there's the racism, colorism, misogyny of it all. So that just helps to drive whatever else is going on. So yeah. And so instead of doing that, I decided to do something fun instead. I decided to come up with my own tier list. I think I'm going to call it the Hip Hop Media's White Trash or something to that effect. You'll see what the title is once the video is up, obviously. But I decided to make this tier list and, just for fun to categorize the bullshit. And so, yeah, here we go. And so the first category on this list, I have unworthy of being a black man right at the bottom. And for this category, I had to put the one and only, we all know him. Obviously, all of us don't love him, but, I had to put Theodore, I had to put Mr. Allen himself. And the main reason I really need to do this is partially for my own personal feelings, because for those of you that don't know, I am Jamaican. And to have his name be connected to my, nationality, my identity, my culture, so much so that there are people that blame him being Jamaican and him not, growing up, I guess, or being born in America. They credit that as to why he doesn't truly have a full grasp or appreciation for hip hop. I just personally cannot deal with the smut, the disrespect, the dirt that he has put on our people's name. And so this is kind of my way of rectifying the situation, a bit of retribution, if you will. And so yeah, he's definitely going in the unworthy of being a black man section. He is an embarrassment to himself, an embarrassment to hip hop culture. He's a hype beast. He does not care about anything of substance, just, numbers and bullshit. And when the numbers are not in favor of, the people he likes, he quickly, lies, covers it up, or tries to shift blame. So, from a hip hop perspective, he's just kind of, empty, very much, very coonish. But yeah, Mr. Allen definitely goes in the unworthy of being a black man section. Next on the list, we have the final frontier of the manosphere. This section of the tier list is dedicated solely to, the failures of the manosphere, the failures of the red pill. Really, the reason why I call it the final frontier is because this is the final result. This is the end of the road. This is what you get. You know how they say at the end of the rainbow you get the pot of gold. This is the pot of shit that these lost white boys get when they're finished following, the Andrew Tates and the Jordan Petersons and the whoever else is of the world, these so-called life coaches or whatever the hell. This is the end result. These people have kind of sold you, not even kind of, they've definitely sold you this lie that this grade of masculinity is going to lead you to be the best man that you can be, and you're going to get a high value woman, whatever the hell that means, and all these other things. But in reality, this is what you're left with. Instead of being left with a human being of worth and, dignity, you are left with seed sniffers and cucks. That is the end result of, the red pill. After you take that red pill, this is where you end up. You don't get to hang out with Morpheus. You don't get to become, the one and save the day. No, you turn into a fucking cuck and a seed sniffer. That's what that is, and that's what Aiden Ross and Adam 22 are. Cucks and seed sniffers. That's the end of the road. I don't even have anything to say about these guys when it comes to hip hop because I truly don't watch them, and that's kind of the problem when it comes to these people. I only know of them whenever they open their mouth about anything hip hop related, and they tend to be either standing next to somebody who's hip hop related or speaking directly to somebody who's actually, involved. Nobody that I can see is just sitting around waiting for these people's opinions on anything. Obviously, there's a lot of rappers that do streams and stuff with Aiden. We'll get to that in a bit. Adam, he, just pretty much invites whatever gang member from LA that has nothing going on in their life to the platform so they can, do an interview and talk about whatever is going on in the streets for God knows what reason. But when it comes to hip hop, there's really not much to say about them. They are, complete failures as far as men. And I find it so interesting how, that side, this whole masculine, they always say, oh, we can't even be proud to be white men anymore, and we're not allowed to be men, this, that, and the third. But yet, when you're left to your own devices to be the men that you say you want to be, this is what you become. You become seed sniffers and cucks. These guys will have so much to say about black people, stereotype black people, and do all of this. But yet, you'll sniff a black man's chair, which, for those of you who don't know, unfortunately, yes, Andrew Tate there is Negro in his blood, so, take it or leave it. And then you have Mr. Adam, who has pimped his wife out to a black man for money and entertainment. It's just like, you people have so much to say about black people, but look at how you're behaving. You have so much to say about black women, but look at how you behave. Just disgusting and disgraceful. And then I'm supposed to sit here and take you people seriously when you speak. And it really makes me question your audience too. Like for all of you out there that, watch Aiden streams and watch No Jumper, do you what do you relate? Is that what it is? Do you relate to them? How do you even bear? How do you even stomach watching these people on a daily? Do you not somewhat feel ashamed? Do you not feel like some of this cockery is going to, rub off on you? You don't feel any sort of shame, like at all? I don't know, but yeah, that's all I have to say. This is the final frontier of the manosphere. So all of you who are in the cesspool, the rabbit hole, the gaping asshole of bullshit, get out while you can. Because trust and believe, these guys, they don't want you to find a woman of worth. They don't want you to get rich. They want you to become like these two. They want you to become cucks and seed sniffers. That's what they want you to do. They want you to lick their boot and become degenerates and be at the bottom of the totem pole. So they won't have any competition. That's all they want. But yeah, shout out to Aiden and Adam. The final frontier of the manosphere, right there. Right there where they belong. Okay, next on the tier list we have the obvious police section. This goes to Trap Lord Ross and DJ Vlad, 2/5 of the Scooby-Doo gang. Mysteries Incorporated. I'm not sure who the other members would be. I guess you could make Academics the dog. I guess he could be Scooby. Since he did the whole Warren Chirac thing. Not sure who Daphne and Velma would be. There's not really that many white women in hip hop media per se. Especially not like these guys. I guess you could pick Bobby Altov, but she's such a non-factor. And just for the record too, in case this gets misunderstood, I don't view any of these people as hip-hop or hip-hop media. I'm probably going to put hip-hop in quotations when I make the title of this video. These are just, I call them trash for a reason. They're unwanted, they're just lingering. They're just there in the media space, and so that's why I categorize them in, hip-hop, but they don't belong. But anywho, yeah, Trap Lord Ross and DJ Vlad, obviously police. Trap Lord Ross, his whole existence his whole connection to hip-hop is based on crime. His entire connection to hip-hop is based on talking about crime. I have never once seen this man give an opinion on music. Again, I don't watch these guys a lot, but from what I've seen, it's not about the music. It's not even so much about where they're from. It's just about these guys rap about doing gangster shit. How much of it is real, how much of it is fake. And the lens that specifically Trap Lord Ross goes to try and prove this is very odd indeed. It's very strange. So he to me is the literal definition of trash, because you're just lingering around. This is your only reason for being here. You have no other reason to be here, so it's like, why, just why? However, when it comes to this section, I'm not going to spend too much time here, because when it comes to this section, I have to be honest and I have to be fair. These guys really would not exist if it were not for the audience. And I have to say this mainly for DJ Vlad, because a lot of people have a lot to say about DJ Vlad. They've been calling him the feds and police and all this for the longest. But if I'm going to be really honest, and this might be controversial, DJ Vlad is probably the least problematic person on this whole list. Because at the end of the day, even though he does sit in that chair and ask these rappers police questions, at the end of the day, it's up to them to just not answer the question or not do the interview at all. Since you already know what DJ Vlad is about, you know he's going to ask you about your past. And so it's like, it's either you lean into it and talk about it or say nothing. I just really feel like, however you guys feel about DJ Vlad, he would not be such a factor if these grown ass men from the ghetto that were in the streets and did what they did or didn't do what they did, whatever the case is. He would be completely illegitimate if these guys just were to not say anything and not sit on his couch and talk. But no matter how much people call him the police, these so-called street rappers still go and sit and talk to him. Now, it's not as much as before, but, you know, he has his regulars, he's had his people over the years that sit and talk to him, and it's just like, you keep calling the police, but yet you're talking with the police. Like, how are you guys any different from Young Thug? You people have so much to say. Young Thug had so much to say about snitching and all of this, but when he was in that interrogation room with the police, he had so much to say. It's just like, I don't understand it, but there's definitely some self-accountability that needs to be taken. I don't know if that's an oxymoron, because accountability is supposed to be of self, but whatever. But yeah, that's all I have to say about them. They're obviously police. They behave like police. They ask police questions. They find police answers. I guess if you're into, I know there's a lot of people that, you know, are into crime shows and stuff. I guess I understand that element of it, but from a hip hop perspective, it's just no. They're just trash for the most part. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about these two. 2/3 of Mystery Incorporated. I think Trap Lord Ross would be Shaggy, and DJ Vlad would be Fred for sure. DJ Academics, he's Scooby, and then the other two, it doesn't even matter. But yeah. And for the final two sections, this part I'm going to do it in tandem because they are somewhat connected. We have the Really a Nobody section. This one goes to XQC. I don't know shit about this guy. He is such an NPC. I don't know how, in God's name, he even became a streamer, gained an audience. I don't like to disrespect people with, you know, disabilities or whatever the case is, but he might be on the spectrum of some form of whatever. Because anytime I see him talk, he talks like somebody had to teach him how to talk. So I don't want to put too much judgment on that, but he's just such a nothing burger of a person. Anytime I see him speak, it seems like somebody just planted words inside of him when it comes to specific topics, and whenever the topic arises, he just fumbles and mumbles words out about it. He's really a nobody. He's nothing to hip hop. He's nothing to me. I sometimes wish I didn't know that he existed, but it is what it is. But ultimately, the reason why somebody like him can even exist in my memory and reach the public consciousness of hip-hop is because of the catalyst, the problem, the gateway, the door that these guys walk through. You know, when I look at this list, I really have to credit probably half of this list to this one individual who, you know, we have sitting at the top of this list as somebody who I have coined now as the litterer of hip hop media, somebody who has helped to legitimize and blow in some of this white trash that we've had to deal with. This goes none other to the one and only, the man himself, or the boy as he oddly calls himself, Mr. Aubrey Graham, Jizzy Drake. I have to put him at the top of this list for multiple reasons, but as I said, when you look at this list, half of the people we see here have either been introduced to us because of him for the most part, or have been emboldened by him. So I think for most people in hip hop, I think a lot of them, even though Aiden has done, stuff with rappers in the past, I do think that his proximity to Drake has given him a lot of attention, and I definitely probably wouldn't know who the hell he is if he wasn't standing beside Drake. XQC is another one where I had no idea who this guy is, and then all of a sudden Drake is on stream with him, showing off his ball spot, gambling with him. That was just so random. So then there's that, and then of course there's DJ Akademiks, who is in this weird, I can't call it parasol, it's this weird relationship where he knows deep down in his heart that Drake does not like him or respect him, but because he is created a platform for himself, Drake keeps him around, keeps him in his corner. I don't know how he gets information. I really do feel like they quote unquote leak shit to him on purpose just to keep his name out there. But yeah, it's a very weird relationship, and he's the litter. He is the litter. He is somebody who has, kept the door open and letting some of this white trash blow into the house of hip hop. And now we have to, contend and deal with it in a certain way. So that's why I'm at the top of the list. And on top of that, I also have to acknowledge, and I don't think he did this on purpose, but regardless, him, involuntarily reinforcing and putting confidence in these white people, these coons, colors and such, to spread all this anti-black rhetoric in hip-hop, calling people's music slave music, Harriet Tubman music, all types of nonsense. I don't care what anybody says, I really and truly do believe that line in Family Matters, it put a batter in these people's back. It has not been the same since. It has not been the same since. Obviously, coons have always existed, colors has always existed, races have always existed. But the way these people are moving nowadays, you would think that it's like some of them forget that Drake is black. Some of them have completely forgot that Drake is. The way they talk about black people and blackness on the internet, and they're supposed to be so-called hip-hop fans, I'm convinced that some of them have forgotten that this is supposed to be a black man. I don't know if it's they're leaning into the whole, oh, well, you guys tried to say that he's not. That was never the case. Nobody said he wasn't black. So I don't know if that's what they're holding on to, and they're like, okay, well, I don't know. But yeah, he gets to sit at the top of the list because he's responsible for half this list. To a degree. And another thing I wanted to mention too, and this is the last point I'll make, this video is getting too long. You would argue with me and say that, oh, Drake isn't a streamer, he's not a media person, so he doesn't belong on this list. Well, according to Jim Jones, and according to, Heineken and Esso, the guys from Backfuel, and according to all these other dumbasses who keep on saying, oh, well, Drake's not outside and the vibes are gone and it's not the same because everybody's beefing with Drake. If we're to take these guys' word for it and say that Drake is not outside and the energy is shifted and all this other nonsense, if we're taking these guys' words face value and the music is not, he's not present musically, then I think we can make an argument and say that at this current point in time, Drake is more of a streamer and a media person than he is a rapper. If what Jim Jones is saying is true, then I think that we can safely call Drake a streamer now, because since the battle, he's been streaming with Aiden. He sat and done interviews with the Bobby girl for no reason. He's done streams with XQC or whatever. And when he did the wireless thing, he had all of them out there recording him and shit. I think that, and the Iceman rollout, he did a stream for that. I think there is credence to say that Drake in 2025, 2026, however you want to categorize it, he is a streamer. If what Jim Jones and the rest of them is saying is true and the vibes are gone and Drake's not outside, when Drake was outside, the clubs were lit, whatever the conversation is. If he's not outside and he's inside, if he's not outside, then that means he's inside streaming. Point blank period. Can't have it both ways. Either he's not outside and the vibes are gone, or he is outside and I can't categorize him as a streamer. They say he's not outside, so I'm categorizing Drake as a streamer. And for that, he deserves to be on this list because he is indeed a litter. And he has helped to let in some of this white trash into hip hop. So, yeah. That's why he gets to sit at the top of the list. And right below him is, probably his most unnecessary piece of trash he's let in my opinion. So yeah, that's all I have to say. That's the video. That's my list. I would have honorable mentions, but there's nothing really honorable about any of these people, so I guess we can skip that part. I was considering on putting the Asian guy, what's his name, Mew? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Chat Wizard, whatever. The Australian guy that runs the Academics TV page, that piece of shit. I was considering putting him in the really a nobody section because he really and truly is a nobody. He is fucking nobody. He is literally just a racist, standing weirdo that loves academics and loves Drake. He's just a weird racist stan. He's a fucking nobody. So I guess we can put him in the dishonorable mentions. I would put him in the nobody section, but he's such a nobody. I don't even think he deserves to be beside XQC. He doesn't even deserve to be under Drake on this list. So yeah. And I guess I could throw Bobby in there too, but let me leave her alone. Let me leave that white girl alone. She really hasn't done anything. She's just so blah. So, but yeah. Anybody else I can think of? White hip hop people in the media? I can't think of anybody. I cannot think of anybody. Yeah, I think this is about it. So, yeah, that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this wasn't too long. Hopefully, if I make a new video or whatever, I have something more concise and thought out and, food for thought for you to eat. If you like this type of video, I guess I might do more and just come on here and ramble and give my thoughts on things instead of try to be all neat with it. But appreciate your time if you made it this far. Thank you, I guess. And have a good day. Have a good 2026. God bless. Bye bye.